see. Connection is good. Let's see. Give a little bit of time for things to come in. All right. I wish I knew the link. Share. Copy. Close. All right. So, shapes are pretty easy to do. They have their own model creator, and there's a link on the wiki, VS Model Creator, and you can download the new version or whatever latest release here, and you just download it, either the zip or the installer, and you install it someplace. I just put it in with all of my other mods, and you launch it. And there it is. You have a single block, and it's all highlighted and outlined for you. And with this, you can start your modding. So, what we're going to make today is something pretty simple and straightforward, but it's going to require, a custom shape. It's going to require some JSON, and no programming is going to be required. So I know I've done a couple weeks ago, I did a full mod for programming on stream, and this time I wanted to kind of step back because I've been getting some questions on the more JSON and shape side of modding. So I wanted to address that, and so yeah, we're going to create a little bit of a thing here. So what we're going to do is actually do a nice easy shape. Let's start on the bottom and work our way up. So we're going to make a chain. So I want to increase that. Yeah, that, and then we're going to do, I'm not going to really name all my cubes because, it's going to be a lot of cubes in here. So, because there's no really major central position, we've got to figure out, I want to try to get the chain as close to the center as possible. And it needs to be tileable, so you can place many of these on one another. And this will just save, if you want some kind of chain, holding up a chandelier or holding up something else, there'll be, a chain here that you can just use. So we're going to add another face. That size, I want to offset this. And then offset it this way, like that. And you just keep adding. So we're going to go up 2. Okay, so now let's go out one like that. So can we add 0.5? We can. So we're going to dial it back Let's dial it back 6.5 and then make this 2.5. Nope. 1.75. Let's just say 2 for now. There we go. Something like that. Now you could squish these even more and say instead of being 1 thick, you could have them be less than 1. But I'm going to keep it at 1 just for reasons. So now I want to add another one in here. So this, we're going to dial it back. We're going to increase there. And we are going to say 6.5, like that. So that is the other link. Let's add this right onto the end. Like so, and we're going to want to squish this in. Let's see. We're going to want, see how it's offset from this other cube? We don't want that. We want it separated, because it takes the coordinates of the other cube, like so. And then we could branch off from that one, like that. And let's set these as 3 high, like so. And then what we could do is we could copy this one, and we're going to raise it up, not width, we're going to raise it up. And let's set up, okay, so we want shrink that down. Let's set this to 6 and then up to 7. And then voxel size, this is going to be 6.5 and this is going to be 2. There's another link in the chain right there. Just like that. Okay, let's duplicate that one. We're going to set it down 1. Again, 1 like that. Shrink it down that direction, and then we're going to shrink it and bring it up and offset it 6.5. Just like so. All right, so now we should be able to just duplicate and reorient. Ooh, that's going to copy both of those, isn't it? Well, we could do this. We want to rotate 90 degrees along that side. And we're going to go up and then back along. Oh, let's see. Why is that? Oh, it's moving. Ah, I see. It's moving because we changed its Yeah, we changed its position. Now it's rotated, so the axis that it's rotating on are a little derpy. Okay, so now we should be able, now that we have that set up, we should be able to copy. Where's that top? There it is. And then we're going to set up that. You can see how we're building that chain up, right? And now this whole one down here could be copied, but it's not a part of a single cube. So we could drag these down here and say, hey, no, drag these down here. So we have the right side or left side, top, right side. Where's the bottom? That's the bottom there. So we could move that in there as well. So that is the entire link. So if we duplicate that, it duplicates the whole thing, and we can set up, then just raise this up like that. Now we're getting near the top. Now remember, we want this to match up here. So that is going to be the tricky part. So where is this link? This link is there, and there, and there. I don't know what that origin is all about there. Why is that origin so far off? Okay. So let's move that one in here. That line, that line, that line, and the top. So we're going to copy this one as well and move this up. Okay, so I can see already that this is not going to line up as well as I was hoping it would, because it's 16 voxels tall. So how do we do this? Well, if we shrunk these links down, it really wouldn't work that well. But we could maybe shrink down the tops and the bottoms, and that would give us maybe enough space, because the next link goes up and it would be offset from this side, because the next one is going to go up on this side, but we need it to almost match this. Okay, so if we put, let's delete that one and then take this and raise it up to there. Okay, that would line it up, but obviously now we are missing a target there. Okay, so, or you know what we could do, instead of doing all these shenanigans, let's stretch the links out a little bit. Let's see if we get, you know, another link there, something that's a little bigger, because this down here, as you can see, is going to be way taller. So we want to take this cube here, and we're going to raise this up. We're going to raise this up 1. And then we're going to take that cube and we're going to lower it down. We're going to take that and we're going to increase its size like that. And then the other one, there. So increase its size, but lower it. Ooh. Ooh. Lower it. Origin. Let's see. How do we lower it without? How do we lower it without changing the orientation of all the other things? We could lower it like so, and then increase that, and increase position, that there. Because they have a, you know, when you combine them like this in a tree, it's a root node. So the other one here, we want to increase that. We want to increase that. And then we want to position this up one. And then the whole thing, we want to position up one, like that. Looking pretty good so far. Okay. Now the very first cube. Down here, let's see, that's our base. It'll be up to the person to orient that differently. So this size gets up one. And this size gets up one. And there it is. This one, okay, we need to redo it because there's 2 voxels in between these, and there would be 3 in there. So we have enough room to stretch this one out. We can find it. There it is. So this one, I want to stretch out. This one, stretch out. And this position, go up. There we go. Okay, now we need to shrink that top one. So, voxel size and position. Voxel size down. And there it is. The chain. And it'll be up to, you know, the player to connect this up, make it look good, you know, maybe chisel a single block. But the main reason I wanted to build these is I've got a building project going right now, and I'm going to use, you know, I'm going to hang some lights from this shape, and I'm going to be using hundreds of them. So I didn't want to have to chisel. Plus you get a little bit more detail when you do it like this. You can do like these half blocks in here, and you can't do that when you are chiseling. You can only do single voxels. So I want to apply a texture to all of these. So I'm going to go to the proper app data, roaming, vintage story, assets, survival, textures, block, metal, ingot. Or maybe I think I might want to use the plate item. Resource plate. These are good. These are good textures. They're really hard to see, obviously, but let's just apply a texture to this. So we do this and a load texture to apply to all selected, to all elements down here. Wink. And there's a texture applied. Now if you wanted the baseline to maybe be gold, you could do that. Apply all. There's, you got gold chain. But we're going to be changing the texture based on the type that creates it, right? There's definitely going to be some differences here. So next thing is we want to save. And we want to save vintage, not vintage story. We want to save in C programming, vintage, random changes, assets, game, shapes, block. This is going to be chain links. There it is. Chain links is good to go. So then what we want to do, since we applied that texture to all, and granted, you can do a lot of different things. You can do custom UV mapping. You can do wireframe, or you can do keyframe based animations. This is how I animated the Night Watcher. Is you just duration of frames. That's the entire animation, duration and frame. So you put some number in there, and then you slide this to whatever keyframe you want to add. And you slide it, you change your settings, your rotations, and what items are moving, and then you set the slider, and you keep doing that until you have your animation, and then that's saved with your thing. And the attach points, that is for machines, and there's attachment points for attaching things that can be saved. Okay, so now that the shape is done, let's go in and look at vintage, random changes, assets, game, shapes, block, chain links. So here is the file that was created with all of that. You can see the texture, hashtag gold is that. And there is right there, hashtag gold. But we're going to actually change that name. I don't want this, we don't have to change it. We could leave it as hashtag gold. It's just the name and how it binds this texture to this item, right? And so it's really not important what the name is, but we're going to reference it in our JSON. So I want to change it to something that's a little bit more, we're going to name it chain, and then we're going to rename search, replace hashtag gold with hashtag chain, and replace all. And there it is. And all that does is just name that mapping. That's all we did there, and that's really all that we really needed to do. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's it for the shape. So we have our own shape. Now How do we use that shape? Well, we want to define our own block type, right? So I already have like metal fence and chandeliers in here. And now metal fence, there was a bug in here that I really needed to change. Combustible props, I needed to remove this. Because it's a metal fence. There should be, it's not combustible. So I didn't want to burn my fence. So yeah, this is just the metal fence. So I don't think metal chain is actually a thing. We go, there's buggy, app data, roaming, vintage story, assets, survival. If we go item types, wearable, or resource, I want to see metal plate, metal. Yeah, see, metal chain is already a code, so we can't name it metal chain, unfortunately. So yeah, we gotta come up with something else. So I actually want to borrow some of my metal fence. Maybe not. Metal fence is probably not the best one. I'm gonna borrow from my craftable chandelier. So this JSON here is my craftable chandeliers, and this just I basically copied the chandelier and added some tweaked, made the actual code and the drop and everything matched that, and added the game colon domain onto everything just in case. And then the shape is defined here, and there should be a textures. Yeah, there it is. So black bronze, that's that name that we renamed gold to chain. That's all that's doing. And that's what we want. So I am going to copy, let's copy all of these into a new one, and we're going to make this chain link. Chain links. How about that? Chain links to reduce chiseling. And the class, I don't think we need a class on this. Either that or we need something basic, just like block or something. So let's take a look at just a generic block of something. Because the chandelier has its own, it emits light and stuff like that. So regolith, that can't be anything fancy. Yeah, see, there's no class associated with that, so we don't need class. And behaviors, I don't think we need those either. This is just a basic block with no behaviors. Unless we have attachable faces up and down. That might... Well, for now, I'm going to get rid of them. We might revisit that. Okay, so variant groups, metal, load from properties, block metal. Okay, which would make a chain link in every kind of metal. But I don't really think we need one in every metal. And that's where, let's see, block types. I just want to make sure. So this is metal chain links. I don't think we want every single type in there. Oh, we didn't make this a JSON. Let's do that. Metal chain links JSON. There we go. So metal fence, I actually have what I want there. Codes metal states, I specifically picked these kinds of metal states. Let's just copy that whole line, because that's half of modding is copying. So I picked these because they're unique textures and colors. There's no reason why we should have 5 different whitish types, right? We have iron. We could add, we have gold. Let's add silver, right? So that is a new one that we have there. Creative inventory, I don't know. Some of these I don't know. I really don't. Creative inventory. I'm not sure how those actually. Candle 0 to candle 8. Decorative. Metal fence star EW free. So if we just do chain links dash star. Chain links dash star. And that should give us all of these metal states, right? Okay, so textures, obviously we don't need the candle on there. Black bronze, this is going to be just chain. That's what maps us to the name that I did in the shape right there. Chain is the shape. Now the texture, we want, I think it was item resource nugget hide textures. I know where did I find, was it a block? I can't remember now. Plate, there it is, right in here. So this line in here, we want block metal plate. Just verify that silver is in here. Silver is in here. There's some in here that you can't even make. So block metal ingot. No, we want block metal plate. And we need to flip these around. And then the metal will bind to this code here. So this is the callback to this variant group right in here. Okay, now the shape here is going to be game shapes block. Okay, chain links. Block game. It already maps to the shapes. But just after that, we have chain links. Right, just like that. If you notice the shape by type here, there's no JSON, there's no .json in here. So you don't need to add the .json. So this type here matches up with this code right in here. And so you notice there's no .json on there. So that's going to save us right there. Draw type, I don't know what that means. Block material metal. False and false, side solid, side opaque. That's like for full blocks, mainly for collision detection and light. Light's HSV die type. These aren't gonna emit light. So as you notice, there's none of those in here. So we don't need light's HSV die type. These are not going to emit any light. Drops, we're not going to be dropping any candles. It's going to drop the block, which is this object, chain links, metal. That's the variant group that it is. So chain links dash metal is your variant group, and that's what it's going to drop. Light absorber, it's not going to be absorbing light. Collision selection box. This is this is that bounding box. When you look at a block, this is that little subtle black box that you see when you mouse over something, when you look at something. So this is one corner and this is the other corner. So you can specify very tiny increments in here. I think it's point. Ooh, it's small. Let's see. 0.625 is if we looked at our. Ooh, yeah. So X625. This is one corner, probably the bottom corner. So this chain is pretty small. I'll leave the bounding box alone. The only other thing I'm going to do is set these to 1. Because we are a full block high. We are definitely a full block high. Actually, no, those are X and Z. We don't need these to be very large. Is 0.625? That's indented on each side, I think, a little bit. And this is a little further away. But the one here, that's full block height. So it starts at 0 high and goes all the way to the top. That's fine. So I'll leave this alone and we can look at it in game when we test it. So sounds, that should be relatively simple. If we look at sounds here, right here, block shoot. It's kind of the standard metal sound. So let's just change those to, oh, I did game in there. Let's do that and do that. So those are the sounds that are mapped. So that's a very tiny JSON. As you can see, there's not a lot to it. So to start off with, we're just going to create a little crafting recipe to make it. So we're going to copy and paste this to be chain links. And then we're going to look at it. Okay, so the metal chain links here is chain links. So in here, I'm just going to have a temporary, we're just going to have a temporary thing in here. As you can see, we need to add silver into here because we added it to here. We said, hey, we want to make these out of silver as well. And we might as well put those next to gold in the same. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter that they're not in the same spot, but let's just put it there anyway for funsies. So this is a 1 1, and then our code we're going to give a block, chain links, metal, and this metal here matches up with this name right here. Metal. So depending on what metal you use, it'll output that same exact match. And we're going to go 4. Because why not? And then this is something I recently started doing. Adding a way to return said thing. So the chisel chain links star, that star matches up with that metal. I'm going to give 5 metal bits back because we make 4 of them, and an ingot, remember, is 20 bits. So 20 bits divided by 4, I think, is 5. So we get the metal back. It just basically chain breaks it down into the bits again. We probably want to add a tool up here, because just an ingot in the crafting grid, I don't know if there's a recipe that would interfere with that. I don't think there is for now, and this is going to be temporary. Obviously, we're going to want to look into smithing them or pouring them with molds. All right. So there is our recipe. There's a thing. So let's close some of these superfluous ones down. Just to do a double check here. Game blockchain links. Metal. All right, I think we're good. So what we're going to do is go to here, edit. I'm going to change this up a version. Oh, and then I need to close that because the directory is going to change. Haven't figured out a better system for this yet, but one of these days. So we're going to send to there, copy. Actually, let's cut that so I know I've copied it. Vintage story data, mods, Buggy's random changes. It's like so. There's the new version. There's my Night Watcher mod. Unzipped in here. Okay, so with that, we should be able to test it now. All right. I'm gonna not go full screen on this so y'all can see it. We should see, if we go to Mod Manager, you can see all the mods that I have in here. Buggy's random changes, you can see 1.9. So we're showing that as good. Hey Tyrone, we could shift it up by a few voxels so that the end is not cut off. It shouldn't be cut off. Yeah, it takes a little while for the world to load. You must have written that a little bit ago. For some reason, my timestamps disappeared in my chat. And I don't know why.
It was at 11:23, so 20 minutes ago.
Oh.
25.
Shifted up by a few voxels.
And then my guy was at 11:29.
Yeah, this is just a blank world. It takes a while to load. One of these days. There it is. That's my Night Watcher. Yeah, this is the same world that Austin and I have been playing in for a while, but it's just the blank world that I created. So anyway, it's the world that I've been testing all my mods in. So chain links, there they are. Iron, gold, silver, bismuth, copper, brass, tin, and lead. So, you know, obviously this is going to be debugged. So give item ingot gold 10. Okay. And that should just be that. And there's our chain. Okay. So if we go also ingot iron 10, there's iron. Now let's actually get my angel belt going here. We should be able to put these in just like that. And there you have custom chain. Now, if you wanted to, you could mix and match. I mean, I don't know why you would, but oh. Boink. It's like that. And they match up. That was important that they matched up. But that will save you mountains of chiseling. Plus, you get a little extra detail in there with having fractional voxels, which is nice. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if they're better rendering. I don't know if it's more efficient rendering when you have just a block that is that. Versus, you know, chiseling, trying to chisel a shape out and having very, very complex shapes in there. I am not sure if it's more efficient rendering. But yeah, that is the chain. Now, it'd be kind of cool if we could have it, you know, swaying in the breeze, but that is beyond the scope of the game. I highly doubt that would even be technically feasible because it's all separate blocks, and you'd have to chain them all together. Oh, it'd be a nightmare. But you can see our bounding box. Our bounding box is way, way, way too big. So yeah, it would be nice to have some utility or some way in that shape tool to find coordinates for selection boxes, for, you know, mold, you know, the area that is taken up by the mold. You know, if you make a mold, the filling of that mold the texture that shows up, you know, you kind of have to guesstimate on where that all is, based on basically a 16th of a voxel. So 1 divided by 16, 0.0625 is the minimum amount. And so that 0.0625 is 1 voxel in, right, on each side. So if we put, get that there, you can see that is 1 voxel in on that side, and it's 1 voxel in on that side. So we could actually go in quite a ways on each side, because we are taking up not many. Yeah, we're not taking up many voxels there. So we could probably go in, let's see, that would be 1, 2, 3. It's every 2 pixels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 voxels in would be ideal for us. So yeah, there's our chain. It's working. It's in the game. And we have many different kinds. We don't have a name for it yet, but we can do that. Not sure what he meant by the end not cut off. I mean, I wanted the last and the first link to the cut off like that, because that will allow you to then link that up with something that you do up here, right? So that can then link up to a bigger structure that you chisel up above, and that's what I wanted to do for that. Same with down here. That would link up to another block that you would connect, and that would eliminate you having to chisel the X number of blocks in between, and only the first or second block, or both. Because I plan on having these with a chandelier on the bottom, so I'll need a full block on the bottom of this. So I'll probably have to chisel out a couple voxels to continue the chain down a couple, but the bottom is going to be, you know, obviously a little plate there for the chandelier to look like it's connecting to. Okay. So back again to our code. Now that I've got the version changed, I can reopen all of these. So we have the metal chain links here. Those are working. The other thing we want to do is change the selection box. So the 0.0625, we're going to times that by 5. So that's 0.3125. 0.3125. Now I'm going to take 1 minus 0.3125, and that will give us 0.06875. 6875. So that will be the other side of the bounding box, which is the same offset in as this is. It's just 1 minus that. So I think that'll be good for our bounding box. So now we could have alternate ways, or we could either go the smithing route and make you smith each and every link, which I'm sure that there are people out there that would love a system like that. And so it would be nice. I would like to, allow those people to do that. I also want to not do that myself. So we are going to have a mold that we're going to make, which is yet another shape, to do that, to be able to pour links for us. And then we will edit the recipes, because we'll pour individual links, just little O's, basically, little O's. We'll pour individual O's and then multiple of those will go into the chain link. So it'll be a little bit more tedious of a process, but I think, it is what it is. Okay. Now, let's see. First thing we want to do is set up this block chain link. I think it's chain links. Chain links a dash star, or iron chain, right? Chain links dash iron. And so now we need gold, silver, all these. We need all these variants, because these are all the main colors. Again, I don't want all of the metals. I want really good, like, we have iron, which is a gray. We have lead, which is a black. We have gold. We have silver. Bismuth looks awesome. I love making little knickknacks out of bismuth. I have a bunch of bismuth chandeliers for my cathedral because the texture just looks awesome. And copper is a classic. Brass is sort of an alternate to gold, and then tin bronze is another alternate to gold. So yeah, there's all the basic, and you could add, if you wanted to, you could add variants in here. You just have to add them to the recipes as well. But I want to copy these, and just for my own reference. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know if there's a way. Yeah, see, I don't know if there's a way to. There's not a way to genericize the this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to do gold, silver, bismuth, copper, brass, tin bronze, and lead. All right, those are all of our variants. Silver chain, bismuth chain, copper chain, brass chain, tin, bronze, and lead. Oop. Oh, wow. It would help to have the very first one do it. There we go. So there's all of our chain links right there. Now I could add versions of rock. That would have to be a different item though. I went over and over in my head on how to make these, have a rock and metal variant. And then based on rock and metal, how do you add another set of variants based on those variants? So I don't know if there's a variant groups by type. I don't think there is. I don't think I've ever seen something like that, how you could have vastly different materials, because depending on what is up here is where you get your textures. And there is a textures by type. But yeah, I don't know if there's a way to cascade the variants like that. Okay, so there's our language. And if anybody wants to, translate, any of my mods with a new, a new file, I would be more than happy of including it. I just don't know other languages other than, English and bad English. So it is what it is. So now we want to get into mold making, which, you guessed it, is another shape. So we're going to go model creator, launch. Okay, so, and we're actually going to name these. This is going to be mold base. Oh, let's not use capitals. Mold base. We are going to offset it in 1 and then make it, oh, make it really big. Okay. Something like that. Now, there's no way to then cut out a shape out of a mold, but you can build up the shape. Okay, so we're going to up that and set up a border around this. So let's do, I try to be efficient with these. And then that's going to do there. This is going to be border top. Duplicate. Border top. This will be border bottom. I mean, I don't know if this is the top or bottom. It's hard to even say. That I go off of this code here. I think this is actually rotated. This is actually wrong. If I remember right, this north here is not actually north in the game. This north is not north. I think it's this. I think it's this. But all the molds that I've made are oriented wrong according to this thing. So these don't follow what this is. I think it's a 90-degree rotation from this. So just so you're aware. Okay, position up, and then we want this one. This is going to be border left. And again, I am always capitalizing things because of my programming. And so we're going to copy this and then move it over to here. So this is going to be border right. There. We have a base of a mold ready to go. Now, we want to try to fit as many chain links in here as possible. So we're going to go to the base again, and we're going to add. And we're going to go up 1, and then in. And then we're going to go new element, over. And then down. And then over. So that's our basic shape, I think. Is it? Do we have? I think we have 4 wide. So let's actually offset those 1 more. Okay, and then we're gonna have another set of those. Hey, I wanted. Delete. I want to duplicate all of that. There we go. Offset this over to here. If we made this 1 wider, or the 2 voxels wider, we could fit a whole nother set in here. So let's go mold base. We're gonna position it back, make it bigger. Border top. Let's go border left. is going to be all the way border right. We're going to shift it and extend it. Then we can take top, extend, bottom, shift, and extend like that. And then we can take this, duplicate, and do that. Okay, so all of these then well, what did I do here? Cube. We're going to duplicate all of those. Oops. Wrong button. Duplicate. And then we're going to set up. We're going to offset these down like that. That's going to be quite a few chains. So border left, we are going to copy. We're going to shrink, offset it, and inset it like that. Okay. And we're going to copy. This is going to be border left, center, duplicate, and then offset that even further. Border left, center, border right, center. Like that. And then border bottom, duplicate. We're going to offset this in and make it fatter, like that. All right. So this is going to be border center. There's your mold right there. Now to, again, set the texture. I'm pretty sure these are all, textures here are all pretty normalized. There we are. Textures. These would be under clay. Gray. Ceramic dark, I believe, is the standard texture associated with these. Apply to all elements. Ceramic dark. I mean, if that's too much, you could, change this to something else, certainly. But it is what it is. It's a little lighter in the game. When you get like lighting sources and shadows and stuff, it's a little easier. But we have a little bit of Z fighting going on here. As you can see, these textures are Z fighting. And so one of the things we want to do here is on the center, the thickness, we want to do like 0.95. And there you go. No more Z fighting. It just insets that ever so slightly. Now, the other thing you could do is obviously shrink this, shrink that, shrink this, shrink that. But it would just add, another, what would that be? Another 2 shapes to this whole thing. Right? So rather, I just inset that a little bit, and you don't have any more Z fighting. And that still should be over the, that should be fine. Okay, so the other thing we're going to need, I almost forgot. We are going to need the holes. So let's bump these up and in. Right in here. Okay, why? Okay, so this, obviously this is only 2 wide, but I wanted to get more than 2 in here. So these look a little smaller than the voxels that they make up. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the position as 2.5. The thickness of 1 is, I think, fine, right? Because we're kind of right in the center there. And then we are going to make it 2 wide. So that should give you that sort of, it's sort of an illusion. I mean, we could set that back and do 2. Yeah, see, it's in between 2. So we want 2.5. There we go. And then, yeah, that's fine. These are a little thicker than I thought they would be. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they're only 4 wide. We could shrink the sides up by widening these, but that would require a whole lot of pixel or voxel change. This is going to be whole 1. Okay, and we're going to duplicate that. Whole 2. And position is right in the center of that one. Okay. Copy that. And this is going to be whole 3. I don't know what the naming scheme is, but we're going to cascade these like that. So they're kind of based off of one another, because then we can just go here, copy, and then offset them down. There we go. There's our mold. Save. Let's see. Programming, vintage, random changes, assets, game, block types, clay, mold, chain links, .json. Okay. Now that we have that, we have molds. Now, what do we do with them? Well, we're going to need to go over here and say mold chain links. Let's look at that. That is actually the shape, which is the wrong directory for that. So we're going to take that file and cut it. It should have gone into shapes. Mold. There it is. That was the wrong place for that file. Sorry about that. So chain. This is the actual finished chain. I think. I don't know what. Oh no, this was. Oh, this is the. Okay, I know what this is. I made a mold for the chain mail for making armor. That's what this is. So here, let's see, ceramic dark ceramic dark. Again, I try to be consistent here. So floor ceramic dark. So we need to rename all of these. Replace ceramic dark with floor. Okay, there's all of the things, right? That's all of the cubes, all of the shapes and textures that we need. And they're all using the same texture. It doesn't really matter. Okay, now we need the actual item or block in the game. Okay, so I'm going to borrow maybe from the new mold here. And there's a lot of stuff in here. I don't know if I want all this. Let's just copy the spile mold. Right? So copy, paste. Tool mold is the code. All molds are tool molds. The only molds that aren't tool molds are ingot molds. And then the naming convention, tool mode raw, tool mode burned. So the raw version, the kind after you make it, right, with the clay, the raw version is the block. It's just a regular old block. But after you fire it, it becomes burned. And the burned keyword is the tool mode, right? Okay, so most of this stuff doesn't change. But the thing that does, right here, tool type, chain link. Chain links. Okay. Tool mode burned chain links drops item, right? Fill height 1. No, maybe not 2. I'll have to see. Game block type clay mold. This is going to be chain link mold.json. Let's see. I keep forgetting, this is why I have so many examples to fall back on, because fill height chain. Okay, fill height. So those are numbers of voxels. So that is the fill height right there. That's the number of voxels to fill inside the block space. That's what that is. Once it's cool, what does it give? It is going to give game chain links what do you trying to think of the things. When you have a chain, each item in there is a link, right?
Right.
Chain link. It's an individual link, and you're going to get 6 of them. So we need this actual item defined. We'll get to that in a second. Mold rackable is going to be true. Why not? Entity class by type, tool mode burned is going to be a tool mold. And the rest of this, other than the shape, we need to define. So the rest of this stuff is pretty straightforward. Tool type, chain links. Let's do chain link. Okay. Ceramic replaceable resistance. Tool mode raw, tool mode burned. There's your all base. All changes all of them to that texture. burned changes the other. So we are going to need an other in our shape. Game, where's the shape at? Shapes block, there it is. So if we go here and open Spile mold, oh, I guess it doesn't really matter. New mold. Oh, wrong. Mass ingot. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter. Okay. They work because the all keyword. So the texture isn't going to be seen. So link mold, we can just remove this other. We don't need this other. Right? It's just going to make it ceramic dark. Otherwise, it's going to be the blue clay. The shape, this is the important part right here. Tool type, block clay mold tool type. This is why you want to kind of standardize where you put all this stuff and how you name them. So shapes, chain links is the tool type. The tool type is coming from there. So we need this tool type to match that tool type. That name there. That is important. So that doesn't even need to be changed. None of these really need to be changed. The only thing that you really want to pay attention to is when you fill this up, you want the selection, right? You want the selection to match. And so this is actually a full block. We filled up the entire block with this thing. So we do not want to inset what we want here. We want 0, 0, 0. That starts at, one corner. And 1, 1. But Y2, 0.1875. Why is that so low? Because that is a fraction of a block, right? 0.1875, I believe, is twice as much as 0.625. No, it's 3 times. So that 0.1875 divided by 0.625. Oh, wait. 0.1875 divided by 0.0625. Yeah. So that will go up 3 blocks. And that's wrong because that's 1 voxel higher than what we want, right? So 0.0625 is our 1/16th of a voxel. Times that by 2, you get 0.125. But remember, we slightly fudged the top of that. So I'm gonna see if we can't do 0.120 or maybe 123 to get a little under that. Well, this is a selection box. I can make that 0.125. Collision box, again, 0.125. That's when you walk over it and stuff. There is something in here. GUI transform. Ground transform. There's one of these in here. It's not obviously named, but there's something in here that controls the actual, the fluid that's inside of it. GUI transform by type. I don't know. TP hand transform. No. FP, that's first person hand transform. That's when it's in your hand. Ground transform. 0.45. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure where that's at. I know I had to change it for these big molds. Attributes by type. There it is. Fill quads by level. Why is that not in this? Drop. Mold rackable. Fill quads by level. This had to be custom because it must pull the defaults from somewhere. Fill quads, you can see the fill quads by level are vastly different here. Because these molds are big. These mass ingot and mass plate molds are huge. So we'll see. We'll see if the link mold, if it's fine. If not, I'll have to put that fill quads by level in here and figure out those coordinates. Since it's the full block, I'm not sure how that's going to be handled. You know, there's a default behavior to it. Tool mode burn chain links. Fill height 2. Required units. Let's do one ingot. One ingot will give you 6 links. Okay. 1 ingot, 6 links. So now, how do we build the mold? If you're wondering that. We're going to need a clay forming recipe. So I'm going to copy the spile mold, and this is going to be chain links mold. Bingo. Okay. This is a really straightforward, really simple file. It may look complex, but it's really not. Basically, you have hashtags, meaning a full voxel, and non-hashtags, meaning underscores, for an empty voxel. And this is 14 block, or 14, and we know that our molds are 16. So we're going to need another 2 hashtags on each one of these. In addition, this is, let's see, line 9. So that is 14 lines. Obviously, we need 2 more lines as well. So there's 16 lines. Okay. Each item in the line is 16. So that gives us our full block space foundation. And then what I always do when I'm doing a new one of these is I always just copy and paste. Because, yeah, now we have something that we can go in and play around with. So, chain links. I think. Tool mode raw chain links. I just want to make sure. Tool mode chain links. Yep, that's the right. Okay. So this is going to need to be underscore. We're going to do underscore space. Well, again, this we can't do fanciness here. So let's just do that. I mean, it won't line up. So if we go 4 with that, I don't think that's good, because then 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we could make that work. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 2. I mean, it doesn't have to be pixel perfect, obviously. 2, 3, 4. Or did we have another one of these in here? I think we had that. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We go to the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that. Again, it doesn't have to match flawlessly. It really doesn't. It's just an exercise in futility. You know, it is what it is. So that gives us our 6 basic shapes for the chain. Good times there. So we can use it, and this is how you specify the types of clay. So if we ever expand on the types of clay, we can always come in here and change it up. Or if you want to restrict it to only fire clay or only blue clay, you can do that. And say only fire clay, please. I would love, yeah, it's not going to work. It's like I would love to just change this up, but I'm going to have to be happy with that. So now we need an item. Item types. Let's see. Item types. We want. Remember, this thing puts out item chain link. Okay, so item types, new text chain link.json. These are the individual links that we're going to get out of said thing. So, yeah. Item types. So right now, the only thing in here is my diamond pick and my world eater. So, we're going to borrow some code. Okay, so block types, text, let's close all that. Okay, item types. These are just basically going to be something simple. They're not really going to have a use themselves. There's just going to be little circles of metal. So maybe as simple as like metal scale or metal plate. So you can see, oh Lord. I don't care about I don't know why density is the thing. Oh yeah, we're gonna need a shape for the individual links as well. This mod change that I'm doing is quickly expanding itself. I mean, gears are pretty simple. But it's the transforms and stuff that I really worry about. Just because I'm not good with 3D coordinate systems and stuff. I mean, look at feathers. There's nothing. Craziness, right? But I do need something. Variant groups. There we go. I need something to give me variance. Clay is a good code chain link class. I don't think I need a class on there. This is just an item. So yeah, I don't need a class on there. Definitely not. Stack size 64. Variant groups. Type. States. Obviously, I need let's see. Item chain link. I need. How do I specify? Tool mode burn chain links. How do I specify metal? Chain links. Where does this metal come from? This must be carried over from the process of pouring it. So I'm going to do chain link dash metal like that. Yep. Let's do that. Yep, drops chain links with an S. Okay, let me look at Lacuna. Chainmail is made from iron wire. Yeah, I want to add a smithing recipe too, but I mean, if you if you want to spend 20 minutes at an anvil and have the metal go cold on you and have no way to heat it back up, then fine. But there has to be some limit to how tedious something is when you need hundreds of them. This is a building block for people to make, and I'm going to be using hundreds of these. So making the system overly complex, not in my best interest. I'm making it way more complex than I initially planned on making it. So fun times there. Okay, so tool mold makes metal chain metal. That's the different. We want chain link mold. Chain link metal. Chain link. I need metal. Let's open up this. States. These are the allowed metals. Okay. Max stack size is fine. Shape, texture. Game block metal. There it is. Item. Chain link. So this will just be a really, really, really simple shape. Really simple. I don't even know if it needs to be centered. Like, I wonder if like the clay. Let me open a vanilla shape. Shapes, item, like just simple stuff. Resource. That. Yes. Okay. It looks like this stuff is, at the very least, centered. Right? Rope. Yeah. The stuff is definitely centered. So we're going to go new and offset this in, down, and we're going to stretch it out. Okay, duplicate, like so. New cube. Oh, I'm still not used to the things here. Back one. Okay, so we want this position to be minus 1.5, and we want it too wide. And then we want to duplicate that and move it down. So there's your basic link. Image import. User assets, survival, textures, block, metal, plate. It doesn't matter. Copper. Apply. Close. What? What? Fine. Do it the hard way. Textures. Block. Metal. Plate. Copper. Apply to all. Okay. File. Save. Programming. Vintage. Random assets. Game. Nope. Shapes. Item. Chain link. JSON. There's my link. Nice and simple. Okay, so that is up. Shapes. Item. Chain link. Chain link. Shape. Item. Chain link. Bingo. So copper, we're going to name this as link. So we're going to say, hey, instead of hashtag copper, we're going to hashtag link. Like so. Hey, why didn't you replace all? There we go. Let's click the wrong button. Okay, so now this link is what we can use to change the texture here. Instead of base, well, I mean, we could make it base. Yeah, let's chain base. We'll see. We'll see if that does it. Shape, we want game. Okay, we want to make sure combustible props, melting point. I don't see those needing combustion at all. The GUI transform, again, I don't have any experience with all of these things. Rotation, origins, I don't know how to change any of these. So I tend to not do that at all, for fear of, breaking something important. So chain link dash metal. Chain link dash metal. All of those should now be in there. Obviously, now we have a lot of things that we need to add to our language file here. Namely, block, tool, mold, chain, link. I think it's chain links. But we need a raw version. And then we need a burned version. So this is going to be raw chain link mold. This is going to be chain link mold. And then x times 6. So that'll just give you 6. There's my craftable chandelier. We do have a star on there, but I don't think there's any way of mapping metal types as far as like strings go. Would be nice. So there's our mold that we made. Now we have items. So all of these types of chain. Now we not want item in here. And that's going to be item chain link. So first, and then we can take out the S. Like that. And then we could do iron chain link. So we can add, a link onto all those. Just to specify that, it's a different item. You have chain and you have chain links. Okay, that was a lot of things in a very short amount of time. Final version of your mod split into 2 processes: mold components, then craft, then do chain and inventory. I don't understand what that says.
So once you have the chain links, you put those into your crafting grid to create the actual chain block.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
That's the whole point of making 6 links at a time. So then I can combine them to make the chain. But it's not going to be the same number of links per chain. So the shape of the chain has, I want to say, like 4.5 links in it. But that, remember, it's 6 links per ingot. And that is fine, but remember, I'm going to be using a couple hundred of these, and it's going to cost an immense amount of resources. And Oz is already dreading having to put all these molds together, because I'm going to need about 20 of these things. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna change up the recipe. So the recipe, the recipe that we have in there now, for chain links. All that uses is ingots. Like, yeah, that's not what we're going to do. This is going to be chain link, right? And we're going to change that to a C because that just makes sense. And we're going to do tab C, tab C. Height is 3. So that's 3 chains, right? So in my first thing, 1 ingot gave you 4 of the blocks. Okay, 1 ingot to 4 blocks. I think that's a pretty good trade-off. As far as how small the links are and how many voxels go into 1 block of those. I'm sure there's more than 20 in there. And if you wanted to, any mod for this game, you guys can mod all you want and make it better or worse, worse or not. Like you can mod a mod all you want and get the type of challenge or whatever that you want. So, it is what it is. So 3 of these together. So 3 of those links that we just poured is going to go into 2 of the blocks. And I know that should be 1. It really should. But, it is what it is. 1 ingot gives you 2 blocks. I guess that's fine. 3 links get you 1 chain block, right? And then because I can pour 80 ingots at a time, so that's not bad. With my other molds, I but that's going to be a lot of chain. I mean, we're literally going to need how many? We're going to need. We're going to need at least 40 of the chain molds. It's going to be a lot. A lot of production on this. So, in the end, what we have, once we have the block, we can then convert that. Again, 1 block is going to be 3 chain, which is literally a half of an ingot. So let's give a half an ingot back. 10 bits. But we're also going to want, maybe possibly, to convert back the link itself. And unfortunately, if you want to convert a link back, well, yeah. Links are going to be able to stack to 64. But they are 3 1/3 ingots. So if you want to change links back, it's going to be 3 bits. And these are not blocks, these are items. Ingredients: chain link, metal bit, metal 3. So if you, for some reason, make too many links, you're going to lose some metal. So it's always going to be better if you convert them into a block and then convert it, which just uses, it'll just use more of your durability on your chisel, which is a trade-off. Okay, so chain link. I just want to double check all this because I love getting all this way and then having something obvious and stupid wrong with my code. Chain link, chisel, metal bit, chain links. So iron, gold, silver, those are my things. And it's a height 3, width 1. Okay. I think those are my recipes. I think those are set and good. I think this is fine. Otherwise, I don't know what about I don't know what to do about transforms. There's no visual way of knowing what to do about those. I wish there was. I wish there was some way that I could visually look at what change means what. Okay, so item chain link is my shape. Block metal plate metal, that is my texture. That's fine. Chain links. Same thing. Textures, block metal plate metal. Shape is block chain links. Block material drops. Block chain links metal. Sounds is fine. Mold. Just do another quick check of this. Chain link metal. Quantity 6. Okay. So the mold, tool mode dash raw dash chain link or links. Okay, chain links, because that's the name of my shape, which is, it kind of cascades, yeah, tool type. Okay, so before I test this, I just wanted to make sure all the things in the stuff are in there. Okay, so take this, send to there, X, larger and newer, of course it is. Now, the ultimate test and the long load times, for some reason, of an empty world. There's a couple mods that we have. One that we're not using that we could probably get rid of. The Alchemy Mod takes forever to load, and I don't know why. I think it's because I think it generates the recipes and the items programmatically instead of with JSON, or a lot of it. So there's something about the Alchemy Mod that makes it very, very slow. And there's a couple other mods that are pretty big. The expanded foods mod is pretty large. There's a lot of errors with that because he hasn't split his mod apart. Because he has recipes in there that rely on a couple other mods, and if you don't have those mods installed, you get just your log file dumped full of errors. So yeah, I don't really know how to speed up the loading of the world, but it is what it is. Okay, so now, you see our bounding box? Our bounding box is way better. Little bit off kilter, a little bit off center. Oh well, but it is what it is. And so look at, we can do chain, game item chain link. Oh, did I must have named those wrong. Chain link iron. Chain link gold. Oh yeah, I really made a mistake on that. Chain link lead, because they're not taking the texture. So definitely block tool mode burned chain. Why is that just chain? Oh, that's the different tool mode. There it is. Block tool mode raw chain links. So there's the chain links. Why? Lang English. Block tool mode raw chain links. Block tool mode burned chain links. Block tool mode raw chain links. Or raw chain links. That is there. Why is that not block tool mode raw chain links? Like I have that set. Why is that not picking up block tool mode raw chain links? During chain links. Why is that not? Block tool mode burn. I don't understand why that is not. There must be an error in this file because none of my previously working things. Yeah. I'm guessing there's an error in this file somewhere. Aha! Yep. Oops. Quotations are important, everybody. Those are all quoted. Yeah. So it bombed on this file because there are no quotes around here. It ran into that text and was like, I have no idea what to do with that. I am exiting, and it just dumped the rest of this out. So I think it works. We'll see. We'll have to reload it and redo the thing. But I want to fix this bug, definitely. Item chain link iron. We have the text in there, but for some reason, if we look at item, well, first, let's go item chain link. Let's open that up. Item types chain link. Texture, blocks, metal plate, metal. Shape, item chain link. So, for some reason, the texture did not change. So, my little question on whether or not it would take it. So, I think what we're going to do is we're going to borrow. Let's see. It's the syntax that always hits me. The syntax of making all this stuff work is always the thing that drives me crazy. So we need something that changes texture based on a type. Clay is a great example of that. Texture, no, see, we're not. Cloth. We don't need textures by type. Dry grass, feather. I don't think there's anything else. Gear, that's a textures by type, I bet. Class by type, attributes by type. Well, there's no texture by type. Huh. I bet you it's in the shape, that's why. Hide. Honeycomb. Metal chain. Plate. So we should, yeah, see this base doesn't, it's not giving me the right texture for that. So if we could do one of them that works is the block type that I have. Shape textures right here. So if we go item types like that. Oh man. Oh, he wants that U, I think. Okay. Chain, I don't think that was the, it's link. Chain link. Link. Yeah. See, there's this, the shape. Shape is fine. So the block has a one that's called textures. But the item is one that's texture, I think. Yeah, texture. So there's not really any consistency there. I'm hoping that works. We could. Look at like metal fence. Textures. So yeah. I don't know if an item can have textures or a texture. We'll try it. And then the block, metal chain links, the collision box, I think, is a little off. If we look at the collision box here, I think we need to go one more voxel in on this, on the outside. So 0.6875 minus 0.0625. 0.625. Okay, well that. There we go. We'll see if that works. All right. I think we'll give that another test. And you can always look at your log files if you find a problem and you really don't know what it is. You know, there are some main log files that you can look at that will help. So you just look at logs. So client debug, client main, server debug, server main. Those are your big ones. And in here you can see it bombed on that text because that text didn't have quotes around it. So that, I mean, that gives you the exact position and line number of the error. So those are the greatest errors that you run into. And these are all recipes here that expanded foods. I really wish they would split out that section of their mod to daughter mods, you know. Failed parsing chain link mold. Pattern 2, line 51. Okay, that is an error that I didn't know. Clay forming, chain links mold. Pattern 2, line 51. There's something wrong with this. Oh, that's got an extra line in it. How did that happen? Yeah, that's got an extra line in it. Weird. That's 16. That's 16. Okay. Well, it's good that I looked in the log files. I would have never caught that. Okay. Missing rest. A bunch of missing recipes again. Yeah, I wish he'd split those off. Because you can, make a mod, make it include expanded foods, and then include whatever mod adds like acorn stuff, like, and that way people who don't have all those mods don't have to deal with all those errors flooding your log files. Okay, those are fine. Client will usually have a lot of miscellaneous stuff. There's the language one again. Errors from other mods that aren't mine. And your client debug will be really full because a lot of the patches that run on the server aren't run on the client. And so you get all these usually loaded server side. I don't know why it floods your log with those, but there are several. Well, there's a few thousand in there, so it is what it is. No major issues on the client side, so that's good. All right, one last test should be good to go. I know there's got to be a dozen different better ways of managing the versions of your mods, but the very fact that you have to put the version number in the file name in order to differentiate them on, the mod database, it just leads to problems, I guess. Newer and larger, that's just fine. Okay, so let's try that test again. And yeah, 1.15.10 is out. He fixed the fertilizer, so I'll be able to revert my Ores of Plenty mod, where I temporarily take out the permaboost stuff. Don't really need it because the fertilizer that I add, or the fertilizer that I mod in that is really good. Oh. Whoa. Did I click on multiplayer? Or did I click on single player?
It looks like you did single player. Let me hop it back a little.
This is the first time I've ever had it crash on something like this.
Yeah, you click single.
What in the world just happened? Where is the latest? Here. Build server assets packet. See log files. Well, that's what I'm trying to look at. It's the log files. Client debug, client main, server debug, server main. I doubt the client is going to have anything in there. Build server assets packet. Server main. All these stupid errors with the mod. Chain link iron. Could not encode entity texture. Base property is null. Okay. Wow. That is a hard crash for a texture error. Wow. It does not like that at all. So the error is with my trying to bind into that. Base property is null. Okay. Chain link iron. Close my logs. Let's open up. So it's the item types that I'm looking at. This line right here. It does not like that at all. That syntax breaks it somehow. I don't know if we... like metal bit. There is a textures on this item type. This works. I wonder if it's just the difference between texture and textures. Because if we look at this shape, right here, item nugget, the texture associated with that will be called ore. So was it just the difference between an S? I want to say it was. Textures. Link. Everything there is fine. So let's see if that was it. If it was just literally an S, that was all we needed. Mods. Newer and larger by like a byte. Literally a single byte is all the difference there. Okay, so let's try that again. Single player, definitely going to click single player this time. And now we hope for the best. Yeah, if you enable debug mode, there's an option in the settings that you can go to enable a debug developer mode. And instead of getting all these events that you see here, it actually prints out the logs as it's loading the world. And you see any errors and stuff. So it's actually very helpful. I have to say I'm very impressed with the coding of this game. The coding of the API, like, never really encountered a game with this extensive of a system for modding and content creation. It's amazing. I just wish there were more big mod teams that were making big mods for the game. And there's a lot of people, a lot of players that are against like advanced electricity systems and like AE systems and stuff, but I love that kind of stuff, so I'm all for it. All right, that mounting box looks good. That looks like it is nice and neat. Let's look at chain in the handbook and see all of the different things. Chain link mold, there's our chain link mold. Or chain mail, that's our chain mail. Chain link mold, there it is. Okay. That's all chain mail. We're not worried about that. Hey, chain link, look at that. They have the textures now. Glory. Glorious. And then iron chain. So you can see, here's the crafting grid. Link, link, link. Gives you the iron chain. So the recipe is working. So we could give ourselves, so let's give item clay. What is the clay code? There needs to be like a code thing in the game where you can just look up codes. Assets, item, resource, clay dash fire or blue. I figured it was that. 64. So time add 12. No, not rain. Oh. Okay, here's a bunch of molds. A whole lot of molds. In here somewhere is my chain. Chain mail, it's not that. See if I can, like, lamella, pattern. Those are for, yeah, those are not things. Okay. Chain mail, hammer, spile, shovel, sheet, plate, knife, long blade. I'm not seeing it. Why am I not seeing it? Oh, lamella, long blade, pickaxe, prospecting pick, shovel, spile, chisel, knife, blade, sheet. It's not in here. Raw. Chain link mold. I mean, it's there. Is there? Did I make a mistake? Can't believe it's raining in that world now. That test world has caused me more problems than anything. Okay, so why wasn't that mold clay forming? Let's look at the logs. It might be on the server. Failed parsing. Oh no, Alchemy. He misnumbered his mod. Okay, I'm not seeing any there. All these stupid errors. There it is. Pattern line 50. Again, an error with the pattern. Chain links mold. Pattern 2. Line 50, position 8. There it is. This is an array. This indicates an array. The bracket. Square bracket. So that's an array. Inside that array is another array of that pattern, comma, another array of that pattern, and then I needed to close the array, and that's why that was not working for me there. So yeah, that was that bug. That's why that mold was not in that list. So, you know, it's always important to test your stuff before you put it out. Because, you know, you run into things like that, and yeah, bad times all around. Okay, so that mod is basically done. We have the recipe to make the links into the block. Okay, we have recipes that turn that block back into metal that you can smelt back down in case you make too many of them. So we've got 3 different shapes. No, 2, 3. Yeah, we got 3 different shapes. We have one, which is the mold for the links. We have the block itself, and we have the individual links that we made for crafting. So if you throw them on the ground, it uses that shape. And if you look at them in your inventory, that's the shape that it uses as well. We covered the inclusion of the language file, including the importance of quotation marks. And yeah, I think the mod is basically ready for deployment. Maybe I want to look at things and stuff here. Oh, and my requested feature is actually going to make it into the game now. Oz, did you hear that?
Yeah, what one was that? The chisel?
The chisel. So now when you set the material in the next version of the game, when you set the material on the chisel, it will be that material until the block either doesn't have it or you change it. So hallelujah to that. It's just I am overjoyed at that, because as you can see by my background image, I've been doing a lot of chiseling. There's at least up till now about 200 hours of chisel work done in this build, and there's more yet to go. So yeah, there's been a lot of chiseling. So I'm very familiar with the ins and outs of how to make that process more efficient. So fun times are had. So if we want to, let's say, mod something else here. Let's look at more nitrogen. So I changed the output for compost there. I tweak with nugget stack size there. Titanium armor has a lot of patches associated with it. There was a lot of things that I needed to tweak with that. Stack sizes, seed farmer. Gravel to sand just adds a pulverizing recipe for rock to sand. So if you have blocks of rock, or gravel to sand. That's what that is for, gravel. Chisel blocks. that changes that. Early storage changes the urn, or the storage vessel. I always call it an urn. I don't know why. Yeah, nothing really else in this mod that I would like to change. So it's the one that adds the World Eater and the Diamond Pick. So yeah, I want to deploy this to the server and get everybody on board with that. So yeah, I hope everybody learned something. If you didn't, well, it's up to you. But yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming by. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed yourself, even after the fact. I would enjoy it. And comment. If you come by later and watching this and you have a question, either hit me up on Discord. I am Buggy on Discord. I am on the Vintage Story server. I'm also on my own Discord server. Link on my About page. And yeah, next week we'll probably get back into playing a game on stream. Not sure what game. Don't know what's out there yet. Hoping to find something that y'all will like to watch. But for now, I'll see